Look, what if I told you that your doctor's blood test is almost certainly missing the real reason behind your fatigue, brain fog, and stubborn health issues just because they're testing iron wrong? Even if you've been told that your iron levels are normal, you could still be suffering from a dangerous deficiency that's holding your body hostage. I'm going to expose why most traditional iron tests fail and how it's failed me and people I know miserably, and what your body really needs and exactly how to fix it before it wrecks your health. And here's what we'll cover: the hidden causes of iron deficiencies nobody talks about, the biological damage low iron does, and why your symptoms will make sense once you understand it, and three, and most importantly, how to effectively replenish your iron levels. With that being said, let's get right into it. I can't tell you how many people I know got a blood test from a doctor. They tested it wrong. I sent them back to get a different blood test. They came back and it was within a normal range, still very low. The doctor neglected it. I had them supplement, and almost all of their symptoms just improve and almost go away. Now let's make a long list brief. Recommended daily intake. For men, it's about 8 to 10 milligrams of iron per day. And interestingly enough, for women, it's almost triple, 28 to 35. With the only reason being because women menstruate and lose a lot of blood, which loses a lot of iron. Let's get into what causes deficiencies. Menstruation, as we talked about, heavy training or cardio. This is because exercise causes iron loss through sweat and through small muscle damage and higher red blood cell turnover. Number 3, saunas. You lose small amounts of iron through your sweat, which can add up over time. Coffee with food. Now this is a big one. If you're having a cup of joe and you're particularly vegetarian, it doesn't matter with animal-based proteins as much. You can block up to 40 to 90% of iron absorption depending on how strong the coffee is. Limiting animal protein. This is a huge one. If you're a vegetarian, you should probably already know this. Avoiding meat means you miss out on heme iron, the form of iron found in meat and fish, which your body absorbs much more efficiently. Some people like to say up to 10 times more, but the true statistics is it's absorbed up to 15 to 35%, which is amazing. Whereas non-heme is absorbed up to 2% or 20% if you eat it correctly, and not with polyphenols found in tea, coffee, or dark chocolate, or like oxalates found in spinach, dark chocolate, leafy greens, or almonds, or even calcium, like calcium coming from fortified milks or almond milks. You'll see 50% more calcium. Or if you're taking calcium supplements with your food, calcium binds to iron. If you want to maximize absorption, avoid drinking tea or coffee, wine 1 hour around your meal, since it can reduce iron absorption up to 40 to 90% depending on how strong the coffee is, which is huge. Interestingly, polyphenols from coffee doesn't really bind to heme iron, iron from meat. So point number 6, mostly for vegetarians, you need to take vitamin C with your vegetable-based iron foods, because vitamin C blocks polyphenols, tannins, and oxalates and things like that from binding to the iron so that you can actually digest it. But for meat-based heme iron, it's absorbed through a separate pathway, so it doesn't even need vitamin C to be absorbed. Number 7, low stomach acid, acid reflux medication, and proton pump inhibitors. Anything that's lowering your stomach acid. You need acid to release iron properly from the food and to absorb it. Interestingly enough, heme iron is unaffected by your acid level. Being that your typical chicken, beef, and fish doesn't have crazy amounts of iron anyways, we still kind of rely on vegetables for iron, especially since we need so much of it on a daily basis. Number 8, O and B blood types. These kind of people naturally need more iron as opposed to A blood types, which evolved more as a vegetarian. And in relation to this, you have other types of bleeding such as hemorrhoids and ulcers. You might not even know you have an ulcer, but this causes constant bleeding in the stomach. Now ask yourself if you fall under a lot of these categories. The more you can connect with, the more you should be asking questions or considering a test. We'll talk about what kind of test in a little bit. Now, what does iron do at a fundamental level? Iron does mainly 2 major things. It delivers oxygen in the body and allows your body to make energy through mitochondria. And when your body is missing oxygen and energy throughout the entire body, boy, do you get symptoms on symptoms. Now, how exactly does iron function? It's actually what makes our blood red and allows our body to carry oxygen. Iron is the key component to hemoglobin in red blood cells. It carries oxygen from your lungs to every tissue in your body and all your vital organs. Without iron, your cells don't get the oxygen they need to function. And I'm talking your entire body. For energy production inside cells, iron is a part of cytochromes and mitochondria. Everyone knows mitochondria to be the powerhouse of the cell. And because of what iron does, we're gonna hear the term energy, which just means ATP, and understand that ATP is the energy currency of your body. Iron helps mitochondria convert nutrients into usable energy, ATP. Low iron means less energy production, leading to fatigue in all the cells in your body. Don't you hate when you're working and you're really tired? Imagine 37 trillion employees in your body tired. Now that's a nightmare. Iron is needed for immune cells to multiply and fight infections effectively. Low iron weakens immune defense. And for brain function, iron supports neurotransmitter synthesis, meaning the creation of, like dopamine and serotonin, the feel-good chemicals. Deficiency can cause low motivation, brain fog, poor concentration, and mood disturbance. The next thing an iron deficiency does is destroys muscle growth because your muscles get less oxygen and energy, making workouts less effective and destroying your endurance. Also, protein synthesis, the creation of muscle, will be suppressed, meaning you'll make gains slower. That means less of this. Next, major hair loss. You could have it to where you can have tried everything to keep your hair, but you just cannot because of iron. Iron helps deliver oxygen and nutrients to the hair follicle and energizes them, which they need to grow strong and stay healthy. Without this, the hair cycle can slow down immensely or even stop, often leading to hair thinning, shedding, and brittle or dull hair. Now, when you're testing ferritin, this begins to happen when your ferritin drops below 60 nanograms per milliliter and can be especially a problem once you get to 30 and below. In more severe cases, iron deficiency can contribute to conditions like telogen effluvium, where your hair just starts falling out like crazy. And this happens because when your body recognizes that its ferritin storage is low, it starts to cut supply from the hair because it sees it as non-vital. But in terms of evolution, I think hair is kind of vital because, like, a big part of getting a mate. Your nail cells are the same. Cells in your nails need energy and nutrients to be able to make keratin for your nails and your hair, and keratin is what your nails are made of. Because there's mitochondria in your nails that make energy as well, and that energy is used by the cells that make keratin of your nails. So you don't want tired employees in your nails making crappy nails. And obviously, I'm gonna say it at some point, fatigue and needing often naps or daily naps. Why? Because you're a little tired baby. You can even be pale because iron gives your blood its color. Craving dirt, clay, or ice. I craved ice like crazy in the past. I've had an iron deficiency and I had to blast my beverages with ice, and I just needed everything ice cold. But weirdly enough, once my iron started replenishing to normal levels, I just stopped needing ice. It was just the weirdest thing ever. Now, I never ate dirt because I'm not a sicko. Now, brain fog, this is a big one, and I've also experienced, because oh my goodness, you're getting so much less oxygen to your brain, and your brain is very sensitive to oxygen levels. Like I said, it's needed to make dopamine and serotonin, the feel-good chemicals. And of course, you have mitochondria in the brain, which makes ATP. And when you have lower ATP in the brain, imagine you're gonna have a local tiredness in your brain. Low ATP in the brain means your brain cells can't communicate with each other as effectively. And that's really bad. This slows down processing speed, memory, focus, concentration. In severe cases, prolonged low oxygen can damage or even kill brain cells. And over time, this can accumulate as hippocampal damage and just increasingly worsening memory. Not even due to like Alzheimer's or dementia. Lightheadedness. Just not enough oxygen in your brain. Restless leg syndrome. Low iron disrupts muscle and nerve function, causing uncomfortable sensations and urges to move. This is a really big one, always being cold or being sensitive to the cold. Now for me, I was more like sensitive to the cold, where I was working with a group of guys and everyone's fine and I'm over there shivering with 3 coats on. And you know what, I'm a little baby. In fact, I know someone who had this to such a degree where they would be cold all the time for no reason. They would mention that they would need a heated blanket with a space heater in their pajamas. This could also manifest as cold hands or feet. And that same person also had worsened symptoms of asthma, because obviously when you're not taking in enough oxygen, your body is stressed to try to take up more oxygen and making you want to breathe more. Another thing is easy bruising. You know, oh, I bruise easy. And even heart palpitations. Why? Because your heart is going to be struggling, trying harder just to get oxygen around the body, because your body doesn't have enough oxygen. So your heart is working overtime trying to get these deliveries done. Here's a brief overview of iron deficient symptoms. You can pause the video if you want. Now at this point you can rule out whether you have an iron deficiency, and the more symptoms and causes of deficiencies that you have, the greater likelihood that you have an iron deficiency. Now let's talk about how to turn things around and fix your iron deficiency. And again, with how doctors test you, rarely do they check your ferritin levels. And even if they do check your ferritin levels, they typically don't really understand what a healthy ferritin level looks like. Now, healthy ranges is in between 70 to up to 200 nanograms per milliliter, but even 200 could be too high. For me personally, due to health testing, I tried to become a vegetarian, and I was likely already deficient, but I exacerbated my deficiency and I had terrible symptoms. It made me the most tired I have ever been in my entire life. Brain fog, lack of clarity, not feeling motivated, and how I almost knew what was going on. When I did a crazy sauna session, the next day I felt absolutely terrible, because you lose iron through sweating. Got a blood test and I told them what I wanted tested, and I told them to throw ferritin in there as well. And when I finally got the test results back, she called me and said, oh yeah, everything looks amazing. Your blood test is amazing. I was like, well, that sucks. That's weird. I wish we found something. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, well, she said it. She must be right. That's what I'm thinking in my head. And I said, and my ferritin is normal? And she's like, yeah, your ferritin is good. It's within the normal ranges. I'm like, well, actually, what is my ferritin? And she's like, well, it's 36. 36? And she wasn't even gonna mention it to me. She wasn't even gonna prescribe a ferritin test. And I also know other people that had the same situation, but they didn't know about ferritin. So I told them about it. Test returned. Lo and behold, they're incredibly deficient. And this can be life-changing. So I talked it over with my doctor, and she said, you know what? Now that you mention it, it won't be a bad idea to supplement with iron. I'm like, moving on, let's talk about ways to increase your iron levels. Now, if you're not a vegetarian, here are some things that have massive amounts of iron, measured per 100 grams, with the king of this category being clams at 24 milligrams, substantially higher than anything else. This is a super quick way to replenish your levels. Then you have the close relatives, oysters and mussels at 7 and 6 milligrams. These are all great sources of heme iron. Coming up next is chicken liver and beef liver, if you're eating those things, substantially high in iron. Then you have beef and chicken coming in lower, with beef coming out on top. And the leading fish would be tuna at 1 milligram and swordfish at 0.8. And salmon coming in kind of low, 0.4. And with other fish like walleye and snapper coming in pretty low. Eggs are also worth mentioning, but sadly they're non-heme, digested much worse. And eggs are special in a way that is bad. The yolk has an iron absorption inhibitor in it, so that does not help. It's more like 0.04 per 1 egg. And for vegetarians, you will really need to watch out for coffee, wine with the tannins, oxalates, phytates coming from whole grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds, calcium, soy coming from soy proteins, the yolk of the egg containing phosphaitin, low stomach acid, and not eating enough vitamin C with your food. You can see how much more difficult it is to get iron as a vegetarian. I would say your main hope is to supplement with a lot of iron and to just not take these with it. And you can see that iron-rich foods for vegetarians, such as legumes, pumpkin seeds, almonds, and this is measured by cup, also quinoa and oatmeal, all of these have iron inhibitors in them. So yes, they do have iron, it's just almost hopeless to get the iron from them. All right, let's talk about the next part, which is super important. Now, I'm not your doctor and I'm not recommending anything, but this is all scientifically true, and I can almost guarantee doctors won't even break it down this clearly to you. For supplementing, the question is how much do we need of what? Because everyone is different. First, let's assume a ferritin blood test result of 40 nanograms per milliliter. But the only caveat to this being, ferritin is an acute phase reactant, meaning your body will release more into your blood when your body has high inflammation. So if you suspect that you have high inflammation, ferritin could be even lower than its reading. Another thing I would avoid is taking it when you're ill or sick, or you have a pathogen invading your body causing an infection, because bacteria will use your iron to multiply. So if you need help and have an infection, speak with a doctor. Now again, I want to emphasize the need for a test to avoid oversupplementation. But if you're almost certain from all of the symptoms and deficiencies that you have a deficiency, it won't be a bad idea to try supplementing. The iron you want to take is iron bisglycinate or glycinate, and it's super important to take with vitamin C, because it can triple your absorption rate. And by with vitamin C, I mean being already in the supplement. And to supplement as accurately as possible, the bigger you are, the more iron it takes to restore 1 nanogram of ferritin. So depending on the raw size of your frame, or even just using weight for an example, 1 nanogram of ferritin could be 6 or 8 milligrams for a woman, or for a large man, it's much more at 10 or 12, especially if you're taller, or just have more mass. This excludes fat mass. Now that we know this, we can talk about how to supplement. So for a man, I'd recommend taking 30 milligrams daily, with the goal being to hit or shoot over 80 nanograms per milliliter. Now, just assuming a base absorption rate of 10%, even though bisglycinate has 20 to 30%, I'm going to assume you're absorbing 10 because number one, you were deficient already for a reason. I do not know why. And number two, because you're deficient, you're probably using a lot of iron. And number three, you're probably not getting enough from your diet. So a good assumption is 10% absorption of this 30 milligrams you're taking. And assuming that for a male, around average 1 nanogram of ferritin would be 10 grams of iron. So an absorption rate of this at 10% per day means you're getting 3 milligrams per day, or roughly 33% of 1 nanogram replenishment per day. Now don't worry if this gets too complicated. I will simplify it. And the goal being to increase your ferritin by 40 points is an equal need of needing to absorb 400 milligrams of iron. Basically means you need to take 30 milligrams for 133 days to get your blood level to 80 nanograms. And you might shoot over a little bit, but that's okay. Safe ranges being within 70 or 80 to 120 is a sweet spot. So make sure you take your iron consistently, set a date to stop taking it, and then I recommend retesting to see what it is now. Now let's break this down for a female. Due to menstruation, I will double this number, which might not even be enough. Again, 10% absorption. For the average female, I would say replenishing 1 nanogram of ferritin would be equal to 6 milligrams of absorbed iron. Multiplying by 40 being the amount of iron you want to replenish means you would need 280 milligrams of absorbed iron. But due to menstruation, you have to double this, meaning you would take 60 milligrams for 90 days or just over 3 months. Again, assuming 10% absorption rate, you're actually absorbing 6 milligrams per day. And this is exactly how you would supplement iron effectively. That's it, and you're welcome. And with that being said, I hope this video helped you. If it helped you, be sure to like and subscribe and share this video with someone you think may need to see it. And if you want to be notified whenever I post a video, turn on the notification bell. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm excited to see you again. Bye.